The Biden campaign is stepping up its outreach to lawmakers in its own party as more Democrats are calling for the president to drop out of the race for the presidency. Yesterday, President Biden made a campaign stop in Pennsylvania and told reporters he was, quote, up to the job. This morning, he sent a letter to congressional Democrats saying he would not be running again if he did not believe he is the best person to beat Donald Trump. CBS News White House correspondent Nancy Cordes is following the latest from Washington. So, Nancy, we just heard from the president just moments ago in a rare live interview. What did he have to say?
Right. This was a real surprise, Vlad. I can't remember the last time the president did something like this, if ever. He called in to Morning Joe and spoke to the host for about 15 minutes. He was, he was joining them by phone, so you couldn't see him. It sounded like he was armed with a lot of facts about things that Donald Trump had said on the debate night, looking to land a lot of the punches that he struggled to land on that night about a week and a half ago. And he was very fired up. He was very combative. And he made the case in no uncertain terms that he is staying in this race despite the growing number of House Democrats who are calling on him to leave it. It came shortly after he sent an equally fiery two-page, very detailed letter to congressional Democrats, basically laying out why he is staying in the race. He said that he won the primaries, that almost no one even dared to run against him. And he said, quote, I have no doubt that I and we can beat Donald Trump. I wouldn't be running again if I didn't absolutely believe that I was the best person to beat Trump in 2024. And so the strategy here appears to be, Vlad, on a Monday morning to flood the zone, to put a lot of pressure back onto House Democrats who might be on the fence, who might be considering coming out with a call for him to leave the race, to say, hey, look, I'm not going anywhere. So if you do that, you are only going to appear disloyal. You may only be hurting me, be hurting your own prospects for re-election, because I have no plans to drop out of a race, especially after I've won all of the primaries.
Yeah, Nancy, and the president has been very forceful, as well as his supporters have been very forceful about his desire to stay in the race. He believes, as you know, having covered President Biden all these years, that part of his story, part of the mystique of President Biden is his overcoming of terrible odds, his overcoming of long odds, being often considered the underdog, except that the president, it's not just members of his own party who are elected officials that are seeing what we all saw during that debate. It's just ordinary folks who are Democrats. And you've seen our polling on this issue, how people feel about President Biden. They love his record. They love the things that he did if you're a Democrat for the party and for Democrats. But they also recognize what we all saw during that debate. Is the president listening to just ordinary folks who say, you know what, do the right thing, and it may be time for you to go?
So far, he insists that the voters are still behind him, despite what you point out and what we're hearing from all of our interviews. The gamble that the White House appears to be making here, Vlad, is that even though Democratic voters are worried, even though they're nervous, that at the end of the day, they're going to come around and support him anyway because he's not Donald Trump and because those voters are so worried about a Trump presidency. The big question, of course, is what about independent voters? What about independents who in battleground states who weren't necessarily sold quite yet on supporting Biden and who are only more nervous now than they were before?
All right. The drumbeats seem to be getting louder every day, Nancy. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much, as always. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.